The day. The galaxy realized that humans are just apex predators pretending to be diplomats. HFY part. Ambassador Ethan Carter adjusted his tie as he prepared to meet the Galactic Council for the first time. The mirror reflected back a man with a friendly face graying at the temples, the perfect picture of human diplomacy. What the mirror didn't show were the 17 battle scars hidden beneath his perfectly tailored suit, or the neural implant at the base of his skull that could calculate kill probabilities faster than he could blink. "How do I look?" he asked, turning to face his assistant. Dr. Olivia Reeves glanced up from her data tablet. "Like someone who's never killed a man with his bare hands," she replied with a small smile. "They'll underestimate you completely." Ethan nodded. That was exactly what Earth Command wanted. The transport ship docked smoothly at the Galactic Council's massive station. Through the viewport, Ethan could see the gleaming structure, all sweeping curves and shimmering light, built by a coalition of species who had known peace for centuries, species who had never evolved on a death world like Earth. "Remember," said Admiral Kate Monroe through their secure comlink, "we need this alliance. Play nice, hide your teeth." "Always do," Ethan replied cheerfully, cutting the connection. The doors hissed open, and Ethan stepped forward with Olivia at his side. The reception area bustled with alien life, tall, willowy Zelosians with their 4 arms moving in graceful patterns, bulky Taurans with their stone-like skin, the gaseous Vreen contained in their environmental suits. None of them had evolved as persistence predators. None of them understood what it meant to come from Earth. A Zelosian diplomat floated toward them, all 4 hands held out in their species' greeting gesture. "Ambassador Carter, Dr. Reeves. Welcome to the Central Hub. I am First Speaker Xylith. The Council awaits your presentation." Ethan smiled warmly and mirrored the 4-handed gesture as best he could with his 2 hands. "Thank you for welcoming us. Humanity is honored to finally join the galactic community." As they walked through the vast corridors, Ethan noticed the subtle looks from passing aliens, curiosity, amusement, and in some cases, condescension. Humans were new to the galactic stage. In the eyes of species who had been traveling between stars for millennia, they were barely more than clever animals. "They're scanning us," Olivia murmured, her eyes on her tablet. The devices built into her jewelry were picking up the passive scans washing over them. "Checking our muscle density, bone structure, neural patterns." "Let them," Ethan said quietly. "What are they finding?" "That we're from a high-gravity world with moderate oxygen levels. That we're omnivores with endurance-based hunting patterns rather than speed or strength advantages. Nothing that would worry them." "Perfect." The council chamber opened before them, a vast amphitheater with curved benches rising in tiers, each occupied by representatives from different worlds. At the center stood a simple platform where speakers could address the assembled delegates. The Arcturian chairperson, a being with crystalline growths instead of hair, rose to introduce them. "Honored representatives, today we welcome observers from Earth, a newly spacefaring world seeking membership in our peaceful coalition." Ethan noted the word observers with quiet amusement, not delegates or representatives. Observers. The Council didn't consider Earth ready for full membership yet. That suited Earth Command's purposes perfectly. As Ethan took the central platform, he could feel hundreds of alien eyes studying him. His neural implant automatically calculated vulnerabilities in each species he could see: the thin neck membranes of the Zelosians, the thermal regulation vents of the Taurans, the filtration systems of the Vreen. Information Earth's military had spent decades gathering through seemingly innocent cultural exchanges. "Esteemed council members," Ethan began, his voice warm and slightly humble. "Humanity comes before you not as conquerors or competitors, but as students eager to learn from your wisdom and experience." He could almost feel Olivia's suppressed smile behind him. They both knew Earth's fleet was already larger than the Council's official records suggested a new species should have, but careful disinformation had led the Council to believe most human ships were unarmed transport vessels. "We have much to offer in exchange," Ethan continued. unique art and culture, medical discoveries born from our planet's biodiversity, and our distinctive perspective as a young species. The presentation continued smoothly until the Zarketh delegation interrupted. The reptilian species was known for testing newcomers, often claiming territory from those they deemed weak. "Ambassador Carter," hissed the Zarketh representative, "your species has only recently achieved faster than light travel. Surely you would benefit from guidance. Perhaps Zarketh advisors stationed in your solar system? We could establish a small colony on your outer planets to help manage your development." A hush fell over the council. This was a common Zarketh tactic, the first step towards slow territorial expansion. Ethan's smile never faltered, but those who knew humans well might have noticed how his eyes changed, a predator's focus narrowing. "What a generous offer," he said pleasantly. Earth would be delighted to discuss cultural exchange programs with all council members, including the Zarketh. He turned to address the broader council. "In fact, we've prepared a proposal for such exchanges. Dr. Reeves, would you share the details?" Olivia stepped forward, her tablet displaying a complex series of trade routes and exchange programs. As she spoke, Ethan watched the Zarketh representative's reaction. The alien seemed taken aback, clearly expecting either angry refusal or fearful acceptance. Not this calm redirection. What the Zarketh and the Council didn't know was that Earth had already deployed stealth satellites throughout the solar system, specifically designed to detect and neutralize any unauthorized settlement attempts. The plans had been drawn up long before humans ever made contact with alien life. Just in case. After the presentation, as they moved to the reception area, Ethan accepted a drink from a hovering service drone. The blue liquid was safe for human consumption according to their scanners, though it tasted like mint mixed with seawater. "That went well," Olivia commented, sipping her own drink. "The Zarketh are already backing down. They've withdrawn their advisor's proposal," Ethan nodded, "and the Arcturians seem genuinely interested in trade. First step accomplished. The Council still thinks we're just clever prey animals who got lucky with technology," Olivia added. "The Vreen representative actually asked me if humans evolved from herd grazers." Ethan laughed. "What did you tell them?" "That we're omnivores with a fondness for cooperation. I didn't mention that we're also persistence predators who evolved, throwing weapons and pack hunting strategies that let us take down animals 3 times our size." "All in good time," Ethan said. "Let them think what they want for now." As they mingled with the alien representatives, neither of them noticed the small feelor observer watching from the shadows. Unlike the Council species, feelers had evolved as ambush predators. They recognized the subtle signs of another hunter, species when they saw them. The observer sent a brief message back to their homeworld. "Humans not as harmless as they appear. Suggest caution in all dealings." But the warning would be lost among thousands of routine communications. The galaxy would continue to underestimate humanity until they couldn't anymore. The day the galaxy realized that humans are just apex predators pretending to be diplomats. HFY Part 6 months after Earth joined the Galactic Council as observers, Captain Samantha Wells stood on the bridge of the United Earth vessel Relentless. The ship was officially classified as a long-range exploration vessel in Council records. What those records didn't mention was the hidden weapon systems, the elite combat team in the cargo bay, or the fact that every crew member had extensive military training. "Status report," Samantha said, her eyes fixed on the main screen showing Proxima Centauri station. The human outpost orbited Earth's nearest stellar neighbor and served as a research facility. At least that's what the Council thought. "Not good." "Captain," replied Lieutenant Alan Blackwood, her security chief. His fingers moved quickly over the tactical display. "Draxian vessels surrounded the station 3 hours ago. They've taken control of all external systems and have approximately 50 hostages." Samantha frowned. The Draxians were a mercenary species, reptilian in appearance with tough scaled skin and natural armor. The Council classified them as non-compliant traitors, rather than what they really were, pirates who preyed on weaker species. "Have they made demands?" she asked. Yes. They want unrestricted access to Earth's solar system and 10% of our planet's water reserves. Communications Officer Peter Young looked up from his station. They claim it's a fair trade for our protection in a dangerous galaxy. Samantha almost smiled. The Draxians had clearly bought into the Council's view of humans as helpless newcomers. The Council has been informed, Peter continued. They're sending a diplomatic delegation to negotiate. Estimated arrival time, 16 hours. Samantha exchanged looks with Alan. 16 hours was too long. Who knew what could happen to the hostages in that time? How far are we from the station? Samantha asked. 20 minutes at maximum speed, replied the navigator Lisa Chen. Samantha made her decision. Set course for Proxima Station. Alert the strike team to prepare for hostage extraction. She tapped her comm link. Medical bay. Prepare for possible human casualties. Alan looked up sharply. Captain, Council protocol states that we should wait for their negotiators. The Council isn't in charge of protecting human lives, we are. Samantha's voice was calm but firm. Besides, we'll just be arriving to assess the situation for the negotiators. As the Relentless approached the station, Samantha opened a channel. This is Captain Wells of the UES Relentless. Draxian vessels, you have 30 seconds to surrender and release all hostages. This is your only warning. The reply came quickly, the translator converting the harsh Draxian language into English. Human vessel, this situation does not concern you. The Council will handle negotiations. Leave now or be destroyed. Samantha cut the communication. They've made their choice. Alan, you have tactical control. Disable their ships, but try not to destroy them. We don't want to upset the Council too much. What happened next would later be described in Council records as an unexpected display of human military capability. The Relentless shed its outer hull panels, revealing weapon systems that no exploration vessel should possess. Precision strikes disabled the Draxian ships in under 3 minutes. Meanwhile, the strike team launched from the Relentless in stealth pods. Led by Commander Jake Russell, the team breached the station through maintenance hatches the Draxians hadn't secured. Inside the station, Dr. Daniel Wright was trying to keep the other hostages calm. The Draxians had herded them all into the main cafeteria, their clawed hands holding plasma weapons. Stay down and stay quiet, Daniel whispered to the frightened researcher beside him. Help is coming. How do you know? The woman asked, her voice trembling. Daniel didn't answer. He couldn't explain that before becoming a xenobiologist he had served in Earth's Special Forces. He couldn't tell her that he recognized the barely audible sounds in the ventilation system as human operatives moving through the station. The lead Draxian, a large male with scarred scales, stalked back and forth in front of the hostages. Your Council friends will pay well for your safe return, he hissed, but perhaps we should send them a message about how serious we are. He grabbed a young technician by the arm, pulling him to his feet. The technician's face went pale. Just then, the lights went out. In the darkness, Daniel pulled the woman down flat against the floor. Don't move, he whispered. The emergency lights came on seconds later, casting a red glow over the room. 3 of the Draxian guards were already down, silent and motionless. Human figures in dark combat suits moved with shocking speed. The lead Draxian raised his weapon, but Commander Russell was faster. A single shot from his stun weapon dropped the alien to the floor. Station secure, Jake reported through his comm. All hostages appear unharmed. 4 strike team members with minor injuries, 19 hostiles neutralized. The entire operation had taken 17 minutes. When Council representatives finally arrived, they found the Draxian pirates in containment cells and the human hostages receiving medical care. Captain Wells greeted the Council delegation with professional courtesy. What happened here? Demanded the Arcturian diplomat, looking around in shock. A successful hostage rescue, Samantha replied simply. The situation has been resolved. The Zolosian security advisor examined one of the captured Draxians. These are elite raiders. How did your team overcome them so quickly? Samantha gave a modest shrug. Good training and a bit of luck. What she didn't say was that humans had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of warfare against each other, that every member of her crew had been specifically chosen for their combat skills as well as their technical expertise. That Earth had anticipated situations like this from the moment they detected alien life. Later, in her private quarters, Samantha sent her report to Earth Command. Hostage situation resolved. Minimal casualties. Council representatives surprised but not suspicious. Recommend continuing current approach of appearing less capable than we are. The reply came back quickly. Good work. Ambassador Carter will handle the diplomatic fallout, maintain position, and monitor Council response. On the Council's central station, Ambassador Ethan Carter was already preparing his response to the inevitable questions. Dr. Olivia Reeves handed him a data tablet with the latest intelligence. The Council is confused, she said quietly. They don't understand how an exploration vessel managed to defeat elite Draxian raiders. Ethan smiled. I'll explain that we got lucky, and that Captain Wells acted on instinct to protect our people. Will they believe that? They'll want to believe it, Ethan replied. The alternative, that humanity has been hiding its true capabilities, would be far too worrying for them to accept. Not yet anyway. As he prepared to meet with the Council, Ethan thought about how the galaxy still didn't understand what it meant to evolve on Earth. They didn't understand that beneath every human smile lay the instincts of a species that had clawed its way to the top of a food chain on one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. But they would learn. Eventually. The day. The galaxy realized that humans are just apex predators pretending to be diplomats. HFY Part 3, the Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tension. Ambassador Ethan Carter sat calmly at the center table, hands folded, face pleasant. Beside him, Dr. Olivia Reeves organized her notes on a data tablet. Neither showed any sign of worry despite being summoned to answer for the Proxima station incident. The Arcturian chairperson called the session to order. This emergency meeting will address the recent events at Proxima Centauri Station, where a human vessel engaged in unauthorized military action against Draxian ships. Ethan noted the careful wording. The Council was more concerned about humans acting without permission than about the Draxians taking hostages. Ambassador Carter, the chairperson continued, please explain why Captain Wells ignored Council protocols, requiring negotiation in hostage situations. Ethan stood, his posture relaxed yet respectful. Honored chairperson, members of the Council, I thank you for this opportunity to clarify the situation. Captain Wells acted within the parameters of human emergency protocols when faced with an imminent threat to human lives. He displayed a simple chart on the chamber's main screen. As you can see, Council negotiation protocols have a 73.1% success rate in hostage situations. However, they also have an average response time of 12 hours. In cases involving Draxian raiders, hostage survival rates drop by 34% after just 6 hours. The chamber grew quiet as the implications sank in. Captain Wells made a tactical decision based on human protocols, which prioritize rapid response in such situations. I'm pleased to report that her approach resulted in 0 hostage casualties and minimal injuries to all parties involved. The Zarketh representative hissed from his seat. The human vessel concealed weapons prohibited for observer species. This is a clear violation of Council trust. Ethan nodded in acknowledgement. The Relentless carries defensive capabilities not included in its original classification. This was an oversight during our initial registration, for which I sincerely apologize. It wasn't an oversight, of course. Earth Command had deliberately misclassified all human ships, hiding their true capabilities. But the Council didn't need to know that. We would be happy to update our vessel registrations immediately, Ethan continued. And we would welcome Council inspectors to verify our classifications. The offer surprised the Council members. They didn't know that select human ships had already been prepared for inspection, with more advanced technology carefully hidden. Furthermore, Ethan added, we would like to offer training exchanges. Our hostage extraction techniques have a 96.3% success rate. We believe sharing such expertise would benefit the entire galactic community. The Zalosian diplomat raised all four of her hands in the species' gesture of skepticism. You suggest that humans who have been spacefaring for less than 50 years have better security protocols than species with millennia of experience. Olivia spoke for the first time. Not better, first speaker, simply different. Humans evolved in an environment that required creative problem-solving under pressure. What she didn't add was that humans had spent most of their history fighting each other, perfecting the art of warfare in ways peaceful species couldn't imagine. After hours of debate, the council reached a decision. Earth would receive a formal reprimand for acting without authorization, but no further penalties. Captain Wells would keep her command, and most importantly, the human offer of security training was accepted. As they left the chamber, Ethan and Olivia maintained their diplomatic composure until they reached their private quarters on the station. Went even better than expected, Olivia said, her formal demeanor dropping away. She kicked off her shoes and stretched. They actually asked for our help with security. Ethan loosened his tie. Exactly as Admiral Monroe predicted, nothing makes potential allies more valuable than proving you can protect them. His secure comm unit buzzed. The Admiral herself was calling. Carter here, secure line, Ethan answered. Admiral Kate Monroe's face appeared on the screen. Unlike Ethan's carefully maintained diplomatic appearance, the Admiral looked every bit the military commander she was, with short gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. Good work in there, Ethan, she said without preamble. The council took the bait. Now for Phase 2. The Tellurian Empire contacted us, Ethan reported. They're interested in exclusive trading rights with Earth. They think we need protection. Kate smiled thinly. Let them. Their technology is worth studying, and their patronage will make us look harmless to the Council. Meanwhile, Olivia added, our research teams have identified structural weaknesses in every major Council species ship design. Just in case, Ethan and Kate said in unison. After ending the call, Ethan moved to the window overlooking the vast space station. Thousands of aliens from hundreds of worlds moved through the corridors below. Most had evolved as prey species, or gentle omnivores. Few understood what it meant to come from a world where being at the top of the food chain required cunning, teamwork, and the willingness to kill when necessary. You know what's ironic? He said to Olivia. We actually do want peace. All this deception, all these backup plans, they're so we never have to fight a war in space. The best predator is one that doesn't need to show its teeth, Olivia replied. That's what the Council doesn't understand about us. We're not hiding our capabilities because we want to use them. We're hiding them so we don't have to. 3 days later, Commander Jake Russell led the first security training exchange with Council peacekeepers. The aliens were visibly uncomfortable with the intensity of human combat drills. Your techniques are very aggressive, observed the Zalosian security coordinator. Jake helped a fallen Arcturian peacekeeper to his feet. We call it proactive neutralization, taking control of a situation before it can escalate. But attacking first seems uncivilized, the Zalosian said. Jake considered how to explain. On Earth, there's an old saying, the best defense is a good offense. Sometimes showing strength prevents violence rather than causing it. The aliens didn't look convinced, but they continued the training. None of them realized they were learning only the most basic human combat techniques, the ones Earth Command deemed safe to share. Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Monroe met with the United Earth Defense Council. The large underground chamber was filled with military leaders from nations that had once been enemies, but now work together for humanity's protection. The Council still underestimates us, she reported. They believe our victory at Proxima Station was luck combined with Draxian overconfidence. General Richard Sato nodded. Good. The longer they think that, the more time we have to prepare. Prepare for what? Asked one of the newer representatives. The galaxy seems mostly peaceful. Admiral Monroe's expression hardened. Mostly peaceful isn't completely peaceful, and even peaceful species can become dangerous when resources grow scarce or territories are threatened. She brought up a galactic map showing hundreds of inhabited systems. History has taught us that peace doesn't last forever. Sooner or later, someone will see Earth as a target rather than a partner. When that happens, we need to be ready. The Defense Council unanimously approved funding for the next phase of Earth's hidden fleet, ships with technology far beyond what they had shared with the Galactic Council. No one in the room said what they were all thinking, that humanity was preparing for a war they hoped would never come, against enemies who didn't yet know they were potential targets. Because that's what apex predators did. They prepared for every threat, real or imagined, and they always struck first. The day the galaxy realized that humans are just apex predators pretending to be diplomats. HFY Part 8 months after the Proxima Station incident, life in the Galactic Council had settled into a comfortable routine. Humans were still classified as observer species, but their security training programs had become popular among Council peacekeepers. Few connected these friendly training sessions with the growing human presence throughout Council space. On the Council's central station, Ambassador Ethan Carter was enjoying a quiet meal with representatives from various worlds when every communication device in the room chimed simultaneously. The Arcturian chairperson's voice came through clearly. Emergency session. All representatives report to the main chamber immediately. Ethan exchanged a quick look with Olivia, who had been analyzing data at a nearby table. Her slight nod told him she had no advance warning of this situation. The council chamber was already in chaos when they arrived. On the main display screen, a massive fleet of unusual ships moved through space in perfect formation. Even to Ethan's experienced eye, the vessels looked alien and threatening, organic-looking hulls with what appeared to be bone-like protrusions. "The Harvest Collective," whispered an Arcturian diplomat next to him. "They've crossed into Council space." Ethan had read about the Harvest Collective in classified briefings, a nomadic species that traveled through the galaxy, consuming all organic material in their path, leaving barren worlds behind. They weren't interested in diplomacy or trade, only consumption. The chairperson called for order. "Our long-range sensors detected the Harvest fleet 3 days ago. Based on their trajectory, they will reach populated Council worlds within 2 weeks." A display showed the projected path of the fleet. Ethan felt his blood run cold as he realized Earth lay directly in their path. "We must implement the preservation protocol," announced the Zarkeith representative. "Designated buffer worlds will be evacuated, allowing the rest of the Council time to prepare defenses." On the screen, several worlds along the Collective's path were highlighted, including Earth. "Buffer worlds?" Ethan asked, his voice carefully controlled. The Zolosian first speaker turned to him with all 4 hands in a gesture of regret. "Worlds that will serve as delays. The Harvest Collective will spend time consuming these planets, giving the rest of us time to coordinate our response." "You mean sacrificial worlds?" Olivia said quietly. "A regrettable necessity," replied the Zolosian. "Earth is still developing. Your loss, while tragic, would impact fewer lives than more established worlds." Ethan stood perfectly still, only years of diplomatic training keeping his expression neutral. "I see. And how many previous collective invasions has the Council successfully repelled using this strategy?" The chamber went quiet. "None," admitted the chairperson finally. "But we have evacuated billions of citizens, while sacrificing billions more," Ethan noted. He nodded once. "I understand. I need to inform my government immediately." Without waiting for dismissal, Ethan and Olivia left the chamber. Once they were in their secure quarters, Ethan established a direct link to Admiral Monroe. "They want to use Earth as a speed bump," he explained after briefing her on the situation. "Buy themselves time while the Collective consumes our planet." Admiral Monroe's face showed no surprise. "We've been preparing for something like this since first contact. Activate Protocol Ragnarok." Ethan nodded grimly. "Understood." 24 hours later, as the Council continued emergency sessions planning evacuation routes and defensive positions, the human delegation returned to the chamber. "Earth will handle the Harvest Collective," Ethan announced calmly. The Council representatives exchanged puzzled looks. The Arcturian speaker tried to explain gently. Ambassador Carter, we understand your desire to protect your homeworld, but the collective has consumed 12 civilizations more advanced than humanity. Ethan smiled. We understand the threat. Earth will handle it. Before the Council could object further, Olivia activated a device on her wrist. Throughout Council space, dormant human technology came online. Stealth platforms that no one knew existed, hidden weapon systems that had been disguised as communication relays, and sensor arrays that had been monitoring all Council and non-Council ship movements for years. Simultaneously, the supposedly small human defense fleet began to change. Ships split apart, combined, and reconfigured themselves into a battle formation the Council had never seen. On the main screen, a new face appeared, Commander Laura Franklin on the bridge of the Earth flagship Nemesis. Unlike the diplomatic appearances of Carter and Reeves, Franklin made no attempt to hide her military bearing or the advanced technology visible behind her. This is Commander Franklin of the Earth Defense Force. All Council vessels are instructed to clear the following sectors and maintain minimum safe distance. Failure to comply may result in collateral damage. A series of coordinates appeared on the screen, outlining a massive area of space. What is the meaning of this? Demanded the Zarkeith representative. You have no authority to issue commands to Council ships. Ethan stepped forward. When you classified Earth as a potential sacrifice, you surrendered any authority over our response. Commander Franklin will handle the military aspects of this situation. I suggest you comply with her instructions. The chairperson looked stunned. But your ships, your weapons, these aren't the capabilities of an observer species. No, Ethan agreed. They aren't. On the Nemesis, Commander Laura Franklin stood on the bridge surrounded by Earth's best military minds. Unlike the friendly, non-threatening appearance Earth had maintained in Council space, the crew here were clearly warriors, focused, disciplined, and ready for battle. All stealth platforms in position, reported her tactical officer. Weapon systems at full capacity. The Harvest Collective remains unaware of our presence. Laura nodded. Begin Phase 1. Deploy the virus. Across the human fleet, specialized ships launched thousands of tiny probes toward the approaching collective vessels. What the Council didn't know was that Dr. Olivia Reeves's cultural exchange, visits to worlds previously attacked by the collective, had been cover for gathering biological and technological intelligence. The probes carried a computer virus specifically designed to target the collective's biological-mechanical hybrid systems. In the Council chamber, representatives watched in shocked silence as human ships moved with precision and coordination that belied their supposed developing species status. How long have you been concealing these capabilities? Asked the Zalosian first speaker. Since before we made contact, Ethan replied honestly. Earth has a long history of preparing for worst-case scenarios. What he didn't add was that those worst-case scenarios had often involved other humans. Earth's military technology had been refined through millennia of humans fighting humans, a concept alien to most Council species who had evolved without the same predatory instincts. The Council watched as the human fleet executed a battle plan that showed clear evidence of having been developed long ago. This wasn't an improvised defense. It was a carefully orchestrated attack that had been waiting for the right moment. You knew they were coming, the chairperson realized suddenly. Somehow you knew. Ethan said nothing, but his silence was confirmation enough. Earth's long-range detection systems, far more advanced than the Council's, had identified the Harvest Collective months earlier. They had been preparing while pretending to be naive newcomers to galactic politics. As the first wave of human attacks hit the collective fleet, the Council began to understand what they had unwittingly welcomed into their midst. Not another race of diplomatic herbivores, but apex predators with the patience to plan, the wisdom to wait, and when necessary, the ferocity to fight. The day the galaxy realized that humans are just apex predators, pretending to be diplomats. HFY Part. The battle against the Harvest Collective lasted 9 hours. 9 hours that changed how the galaxy viewed humanity forever. In the Galactic Council observation room, Representatives from dozens of worlds watched in stunned silence. The main display showed the human fleet executing maneuvers that should have been impossible for a species with their supposed level of technology. "Those ships are moving in perfect coordination," whispered a Zolosian engineer. "Their reaction time is faster than our best automated systems." What the Council didn't know was that each human vessel was linked through a neural network. The captains and pilots shared thoughts and strategies instantly, their minds connected through technology Earth had kept hidden for decades. On the flagship Nemesis, Commander Laura Franklin stood calm and focused. Unlike the Council species who relied on artificial intelligence for combat decisions, humans still trusted their instincts, the instincts of predators who had evolved to hunt in packs. "The virus has infected 60% of collective systems," reported her second-in-command. "Their ships are slowing," Laura nodded. "Begin Phase 2, prepare boarding teams." The Council representatives gasped as smaller craft launched from the human vessels. These weren't missiles or drones. They contained soldiers. "They're boarding the enemy ships?" The Arcturian chairperson couldn't hide his shock. "But the collective vessels have toxic atmospheres." Ambassador Ethan Carter, who had remained silent throughout most of the battle, finally spoke. "Human combat suits can withstand those conditions." What he didn't add was that Earth had developed those suits years ago, specifically designed based on intelligence gathered about the Harvest Collective's environmental needs. The camera feeds from the boarding teams showed human soldiers moving through the alien vessels with practiced efficiency. They fought in small groups, covering each other, using hand signals and minimal communication. To the watching Council representatives, it looked like a well-rehearsed dance, because it was. Earth's military had been training for this exact scenario for years. When the Collective tried to deploy their feared planet cracker weapon against Earth, the aliens discovered their systems had been compromised. The computer virus that Dr. Olivia Reeves had developed didn't just slow their ships, it gave humans control of their weapons. "Collective command ship has been neutralized," Laura reported, her voice calm despite the significance of the moment. "All remaining vessels are either disabled or under our control." A cheer went up across the human fleet. 9 hours after the battle began, it was over. The Harvest Collective, which had consumed 12 civilizations and terrified the Galactic Council for centuries, had been defeated. In the Council chamber, silence reigned. The representatives stared at Ambassador Carter with new eyes, no longer seeing the friendly diplomat, but recognizing the predator that had been hiding in plain sight all along. "You knew," the Zarketh representative finally said. "You knew what they were and you prepared for them." Ethan didn't deny it. "Earth has a saying, hope for peace, prepare for war. We wanted diplomatic relations with the galaxy, but we never stopped preparing for threats." "Those boarding techniques," the Zolosian security coordinator said slowly, "they're more advanced versions of what you've been teaching our peacekeepers." "Yes," Ethan admitted. "We shared what we felt was appropriate." The Council chamber erupted in angry shouts and accusations. Some called for Earth to be expelled from the Council. Others demanded access to human military technology. A few even suggested that humanity might be as dangerous as the Collective they had just defeated. Ethan let them argue. When the noise finally subsided, he stood to address them all. "Humanity evolved on a planet where everything tried to kill us," he said simply. "We weren't the strongest, the fastest, or the largest, but we were the most patient, the most adaptable, and ultimately, the most ruthless when threatened." He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of each representative. "We didn't come to the stars looking for war. We genuinely desire peaceful cooperation and cultural exchange. But make no mistake, we are not prey species playing at diplomacy. We are predators who chose diplomacy because it was more interesting than conquest." He gestured to the screen, still showing the defeated Collective fleet. "The Harvest Collective forced our hand. I hope no one else makes the same mistake." The threat was clear, yet delivered with a diplomat's smile. As the implications sank in, across the chamber, Ethan's communicator chimed. He glanced at it and smiled. "If you'll excuse me," he said pleasantly, "the President is calling. It seems Earth is hosting a galactic cultural exhibition next month. You're all still invited. Of course. He left the chamber with Dr. Reeves, both of them maintaining perfect diplomatic composure despite the whispers that followed them. 3 weeks later, the Galactic Council officially reclassified Earth from observer species to protected ally status, a designation that gave humans more rights while requiring fewer disclosures about their technology and military. In the privacy of her office on Earth, Admiral Kate Monroe reviewed the reports with a satisfied nod. "The Council's afraid of us now," she told Ethan during their secure call. "Fear isn't the same as respect, but it's a start." "They're also curious," Ethan replied. "Requests for cultural exchanges have increased by 300%. Everyone wants to understand how we developed our technology so quickly." "Let them wonder," Kate said. "Meanwhile, our new alliance with the Tellurians gives us access to their jump drive technology. And they get our protection against the Zarketh," Ethan added. "Everyone wins." After the call ended, Ethan looked out the window of his Earth office. Unlike his sparse quarters on the council station, this room contained mementos of his real past. Photographs of his military unit, medals from combat operations, books on strategy and warfare. There was a knock at the door, and Olivia entered, with a tablet. "The Council has approved our proposal for joint defense initiatives," she reported, "and 3 more species have requested security partnerships." "From feared to sought after in less than a month," Ethan mused. "The President will be pleased." "They still don't fully understand us," Olivia said, setting down her tablet. "Even after seeing us fight, they don't understand that we've been holding back." It was true. The battle against the Collective had revealed some of humanity's capabilities, but not all. Earth still maintained weapons and technology in reserve, just in case, because that was what apex predators did. They never revealed all their strengths at once. They never stopped watching for threats. And they always kept some teeth hidden behind their diplomatic smiles. In the years that followed, humans became respected members of the galactic community. They contributed to scientific discoveries, participated in cultural exchanges, and helped establish peace treaties between warring species. But they never forgot their true nature. And neither did the rest of the galaxy. When new species made first contact with the Galactic Council and asked about the humans, they received a standard response. Treat them with respect, honor their boundaries. And remember, behind every friendly human smile lies a species that took down the Harvest Collective in 9 hours. It was all the warning anyone needed.